A factory worker with nothing but love for his son faced a choice that would change everything. When violence came to an innocent family, he stepped into danger without thinking twice. His sacrifice became a story the whole world watched. But what happened next was even more powerful than his final act. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Rahul was a broken man. His wife left him 5 years ago, running away with another man, leaving him alone with their 7-year-old son Arjun. Every day was a struggle. Every single day. He worked at a factory, 12 hours a shift, making just enough money to feed his son and pay the small rent on their one-room apartment in the poor area of the city. The factory was a dark, noisy place. Machine sounds would echo all day long, and Rahul's hands would bleed from the sharp metal edges. His colleagues felt pity for him but said nothing. What could they say? Everyone had their own problems. Everyone was struggling in their own way. Rahul would wake up at 5 in the morning. He would make tea for himself and Arjun. He would pack his son's lunch with his own hands, simple rotis and dal, sometimes with a small piece of fruit if he could afford it. Then he would drop Arjun at school before going to the factory. After work, he would pick up his son, help him with homework, cook dinner, and put him to sleep. Then he would collapse on his small bed, exhausted, only to wake up and do the same thing again. People used to whisper about him. That single dad, they would say. His wife abandoned him. He is not enough of a man. These words cut deeper than any knife. At the market, people would stare. At Arjun's school, the teachers would look at him with pity. At the temple, the priest would ask, "Where is your wife, Beta?" These questions never ended. Rahul's heart became hard. He stopped going to social gatherings. He stopped talking to neighbors. He started drinking. Not much, but enough to forget the pain. Enough to forget that he was alone in this world. On some nights, after putting Arjun to sleep, he would sit on the roof of their small building and drink cheap whiskey, staring at the stars and wondering why God had cursed him so much. Arjun was a good boy, quiet and smart. He studied well in school and never caused any trouble. He never complained about their small house or the simple food. He never asked for expensive toys or new clothes like other children. But Rahul could see the sadness in his son's eyes. The boy wanted a mother. He wanted a normal family. He wanted to see his father smile, really smile, not just pretend. And Rahul could not give him any of that. One day, Arjun came home from school and asked, "Papa, why do I not have a mother like other children? Where is my mother?" Rahul did not know what to say. He held his son close and felt his own heart break again. "Your mother had to go away, Beta," he said softly. "But that does not mean she loves you any less. And I love you more than anything in this world. I love you more than my own life." Arjun looked at his father with tears in his eyes and said, "Then why do you always look so sad, Papa? Why do you drink? It makes me scared." Those words hit Rahul like a physical blow. His own son was scared of him. His own son saw his father as someone sad and broken. That night, Rahul threw his bottle of whiskey in the trash. He decided he would be strong. For his son. He would not drink anymore. He would be the father his son deserved. One day, Rahul met a woman at the factory. Her name was Priya. She was a reporter, a good woman, kind and intelligent. She was writing a story about workers like Rahul. She came to the factory to interview people. When she saw Rahul, something changed in her eyes. She saw his pain. She saw his struggle. But she also saw his love for his son. Priya approached Rahul during his lunch break. She sat next to him and started asking questions about his life, his work, his dreams. At first, Rahul was uncomfortable. He did not like talking about his personal life. But Priya was patient and kind. She listened without judgment. She did not pity him. She respected him. Over the next few weeks, Priya came back to the factory many times. Each time, she would find Rahul and they would talk. They talked about everything: his childhood, his hopes, his fears, his love for his son. Priya shared her own story too. She had been married before, and that marriage had failed. She understood what it felt like to be abandoned. She understood the pain of loneliness. Slowly, Rahul and Priya became friends. A real friendship, built on understanding and respect. Priya would visit them sometimes, bringing food and gifts for Arjun. The boy loved her. He called her Auntie Priya. For the first time in years, Rahul felt like maybe, just maybe, there could be happiness again. Maybe his son would have a mother figure. Maybe his life would not always be so dark and lonely. One evening, Priya invited them to her house for dinner. It was a small but beautiful home, filled with books and photographs. Priya had a daughter from her first marriage. Her name was Isha. She was 12 years old, brilliant and full of life. She talked a lot, laughed easily, and had a kind heart. Isha and Arjun became best friends immediately. They studied together, played together, talked about their favorite books and movies. Rahul would watch them play and feel something warm in his chest. For the first time, his son looked truly happy. Not pretending, not trying to be brave, but genuinely happy. Rahul began to dream of a different future. A future where Arjun had a mother and a sister. A future where he was not alone anymore. A future where his son could experience the normal childhood he deserved. He started imagining what it would be like to marry Priya, to build a real family with her and Isha. These dreams gave him hope. They gave him strength to continue. Then came the night that destroyed everything. Priya was working on a big story. She was investigating a powerful man named Vikram Singh. He was a gangster, a criminal who controlled much of the city. He smuggled drugs, weapons, and did things no one dared speak about. Police officers worked for him. Politicians took his money. Judges looked the other way. He was like a king in his own empire, untouchable and feared. Priya was brave. Too brave. She decided to expose him to the police and the world. She spent months gathering evidence. She interviewed people who had been victims of his crimes. She collected documents, recordings, photographs. She risked her own safety to get the truth. Because she believed that the truth mattered. She believed that justice was worth fighting for. One day, Vikram Singh found out about Priya's investigation. He was furious. A reporter. A woman. Daring to expose him. This was disrespect. This was an insult. And Vikram Singh did not forgive insults. He sent his men to Priya's house that night to send her a message. The message was simple: stop investigating, or pay with your life. Rahul was there that night, having dinner with Priya and her daughter Isha. They had cooked together. Priya and Rahul had made dal and rice, while Isha had insisted on making the salad. Arjun was upstairs, studying for his exam. It was a normal, happy evening. Rahul was thinking about proposing to Priya next month. He had already bought a small ring with his savings. At 8 o'clock, the front door burst open. 3 men with guns rushed inside. They did not say anything. They did not give any warning. One of them went upstairs to find Arjun. The other 2 came toward Priya and Isha. Get the girl, one of them said coldly to the other. Singh wants her dead. Kill the daughter, and the mother will stop asking questions. Priya pushed Isha behind her, shielding her daughter with her own body. No, she screamed. Please. She is just a child. Please. Isha was frozen in terror. She was only 12 years old. She did not understand why these men were in her house. She did not understand why they wanted to kill her. Her legs would not move. Her voice would not work. One of the gunmen raised his weapon, pointing it directly at Isha's head. In that split second, something changed in Rahul. He was not a brave man. He was not a warrior. He was just a factory worker, a single father trying to survive. But in that moment, something ancient and powerful awakened inside him. It was the instinct to protect. The instinct that runs deeper than fear, deeper than self-preservation. Rahul did not think. He did not calculate the odds or consider the consequences. His body moved on its own. He threw himself in front of both Priya and Isha, standing between them and the gunman. "You will have to shoot me first," he said, his voice steady and strong. The gunman did not hesitate. He pulled the trigger. The first bullet hit Rahul's shoulder, tearing through muscle and bone. The pain was like fire, but Rahul did not fall. He stood firm. The gunman fired again. The second bullet hit Rahul's chest, piercing close to his heart. Blood poured down his shirt. His legs started to shake, but still he stood. The gunman fired once more. The third bullet hit Rahul's side, damaging his ribs and lungs. Now Rahul could not breathe properly. His vision was blurring. But still, he stood between Priya and Isha, protecting them with his broken body. Rahul fell to the ground. Arjun was screaming from upstairs, but one of the gunmen had only fired a warning shot to frighten him. Priya was crying and screaming. Isha was in shock, unable to move or speak. The gunmen looked at Rahul's bleeding body on the ground and thought their job was done. One of them kicked him to make sure he was truly down. Then they ran away, disappearing into the night. Priya called the police and ambulance with shaking hands. She held Rahul's head in her lap, her own hands covered with his blood. She cried and kept saying, "No, no, no. Please, please don't die. Please stay with me." The ambulance came within minutes. The paramedics were shocked when they saw Rahul. 3 gunshot wounds. 2 of them in the upper body, 1 near the heart. They did not think he would survive the ride to the hospital. But they worked quickly and professionally, trying to stop the bleeding, trying to keep him alive. At the hospital, Rahul underwent emergency surgery for 3 hours. The surgeons were amazed. The second bullet had missed his heart by just 3 millimeters. If it had hit even slightly to the left, Rahul would have died instantly. The doctors told the media later, it was a miracle. In 30 years of medicine, I have never seen someone survive 3 gunshot wounds like this. This man has been blessed by God. When Rahul woke up 2 days later in the hospital bed, he was in tremendous pain. His shoulder was bandaged. His chest was wrapped in gauze. His side was stitched and bruised. He could barely move. Every breath hurt. But he was alive. Priya was sitting beside him, holding his hand. When she saw his eyes open, she began to cry again. But these were tears of relief and gratitude, not tears of sorrow. "Why did you do this?" she cried, pressing his hand to her face. "Why did you put your life in danger? You could have died. You could have left Arjun without a father." Rahul smiled weakly. His voice was hoarse from the breathing tube they had used during surgery. "Because I love you," he whispered. "And I love Isha like she is my own daughter. I could not let anything happen to you. Not while I had a breath left in my body." Priya kissed his hand and sobbed. Outside the hospital room, Isha and Arjun were sitting together, holding each other, both traumatized by what they had seen. Arjun kept asking, "Is my papa going to die? Will my papa leave me alone too?" As Rahul recovered, his broken body slowly healed, but his mind filled with a dark rage. He learned that Vikram Singh had escaped. The police could not catch him. He had money, connections, and power. He was untouchable. But Rahul was not untouchable anymore. He was something else now. He was a man with nothing to lose. During his recovery, he spent weeks in the hospital. Priya visited him every day. Isha brought him flowers. Arjun never left his side. But Rahul's thoughts were elsewhere. They were with Vikram Singh. In his mind, Rahul saw only one thing: revenge. One night, a detective came to see Rahul in the hospital. His name was Inspector Kumar. He sat by Rahul's bed and spoke in a low voice. "I know what you are thinking," the detective said. "I can see it in your eyes. Revenge. But listen to me, brother. Vikram Singh is a dangerous man. If you try to go after him, you will die. And your son will have no one." Rahul did not respond. He just stared out the window. "I have been trying to catch him for 10 years, Inspector Kumar continued. "He is too smart. Too powerful. But you can help me. You were there that night. You can identify the man who shot you. You can testify in court." "The police cannot protect my family," Rahul said coldly. "I will protect them myself." When Rahul left the hospital 3 weeks later, he was a different man. His body was still weak, but his heart was filled with fire. He started planning. He started asking questions. He started learning about Vikram Singh's movements, his business, his weaknesses. For 6 months, Rahul worked 2 jobs. He saved every penny. He bought a small gun. He learned how to use it. His son Arjun noticed the change in his father, but Arjun was too young to understand. Priya noticed it too. She begged Rahul to stop, to let the police handle it. "I love you," she said to him one day. "But I cannot let you destroy yourself like this. Please, give up this revenge." "I took 3 bullets for you and Isha," Rahul said. "And that man walks free. That man can try again. I will not let him hurt anyone else." "If you do this, you will become like him," Priya said, tears running down her face. "You will become a criminal. A killer. Is that what you want?" Rahul's face was hard as stone. He did not answer. One night, Rahul followed Vikram Singh to a warehouse. He had his gun. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. He was ready to kill. Ready to take revenge for every drop of blood he had shed. But then his phone rang. It was Arjun. His voice was small and scared. "Papa, where are you? I had a bad dream. I need you, Papa." In that moment, something broke inside Rahul. He saw his son's face in his mind. He remembered the night of the shooting. He remembered Arjun's screams. He remembered his own tears when he thought he was dying and would never see his son again. Rahul turned around and walked away from the warehouse. He threw his gun in the river. He went home to his son. When Rahul arrived home, Arjun was waiting at the door in his pajamas, eyes red from crying. The moment he saw his father, he ran into Rahul's arms. Rahul held his son tight and began to cry. "I am sorry, beta," he whispered. "I am so sorry." That night, Rahul made a decision. He called Inspector Kumar. "I will testify," he said. "I will give you everything I know about Vikram Singh. But I do this not for revenge. I do this so no other family has to suffer like we did." Over the next few months, Rahul worked with the police. He gave them information. He testified in court. He was brave. He was honest. And slowly, with the help of Priya's investigative journalism and Rahul's testimony, the case against Vikram Singh grew stronger. But Vikram Singh was still powerful. The trial was delayed many times. Threats came to Rahul's house. Men in dark cars would park outside and watch. Rahul was afraid, yes, but he did not run. He did not hide. He stood strong. Then came the day when everything changed. A journalist broke a story on national television. It was about Vikram Singh's entire criminal network. The story revealed his connections to politicians, to police officers, to judges. The evidence was overwhelming. The public outcry was massive. People demanded justice. And this journalist was Priya. She had been investigating Vikram Singh for years, gathering evidence, interviewing witnesses, building her case. Her work was brilliant. Her courage was remarkable. Because of her, Vikram Singh could no longer hide. 2 weeks later, Vikram Singh was arrested at the airport, trying to flee the country. The trial was long and difficult. Rahul had to testify multiple times. Each time, people in the courtroom would stare at him. Some with sympathy, some with fear. But Rahul stood firm. He told the truth. One day in court, as Rahul was giving his testimony, Isha stood up in the gallery and started clapping. Slowly, others joined in. Soon, the entire courtroom was applauding. Even the judge did not stop them. 6 months later, Vikram Singh was found guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison. Justice had been served. Not through revenge, but through truth, courage, and the power of good people working together. A year after Vikram Singh's arrest, Rahul stood at a small temple with Priya. Arjun and Isha stood beside them as witnesses. They were getting married. It was not a big wedding. There was no fancy decoration, no expensive gifts, no hundreds of guests. But it was beautiful. It was real. It was filled with love. After the ceremony, Rahul held his wife's hand and looked at their 2 children standing together, laughing and playing. Arjun had a mother now. Isha had a father. And Rahul had a family. That night, in their small but warm home, Rahul sat with his family and told them the story. He told them about the night he was shot. He told them about his rage and his plan for revenge. He told them about the moment when Arjun's call brought him back from the darkness. "I was going to be a murderer," Rahul said, his voice soft. "That night in the warehouse, I was going to take a life. And I would have become just like Vikram Singh. Just like the man I hated so much. But your call, Arjun, saved me. Your call brought me back to who I really am." Arjun, now 8 years old, did not fully understand. But he hugged his father anyway. Isha was older and smarter. She understood. "You chose to be good," she said. "Even when you had every reason to be bad." "Yes," Rahul said. "Because goodness is a choice. Every day, we can choose to be good or bad. That night, I chose to be good. And that choice gave me everything. It gave me my family." The story of Rahul did not end in that small home. Months later, a famous filmmaker heard about Rahul's sacrifice and his journey. She wanted to make a film about him. Rahul was hesitant at first, but Priya convinced him. "Your story can inspire people," she said. "Your sacrifice, your struggle, your choice to be good instead of seeking revenge. The world needs to know this story." The film was made. It was called 3 Bullets. It showed Rahul's pain, his rage, his temptation, and finally his redemption. When it was released, it became a sensation. People watched it in cinema halls and cried. They cried for Rahul's sacrifice. They cried for his struggle. They cried for his choice to be good. The film won many awards. It was shown in festivals around the world. But most importantly, people started to understand something. They understood that true strength is not in taking revenge. True strength is in choosing forgiveness and redemption. One day, a young man came to meet Rahul. He was crying. He told Rahul that his brother had died at the hands of a criminal. For years, he wanted revenge. But after watching the film, he chose a different path. He helped the police. He worked for justice instead of revenge. "You saved my life," the young man said to Rahul. "Not just my life, but my soul. I was going to become a killer. But your film showed me another way. Rahul embraced the young man and they both cried. The story spread. Media outlets from all over the world wanted to interview Rahul. He gave interviews. He spoke at schools. He spoke at universities. He spoke about his pain, his anger, and his choice. And everywhere he spoke, people listened. People understood. A major newspaper published a long article about Rahul titled, "Single Dad Took 3 Bullets for the Reporter's Daughter." The whole world saw his final act. The article became viral. It was shared millions of times on social media. But the headline was not about his sacrifice or his recovery. The article focused on his choice. His choice to turn away from revenge. His choice to embrace justice instead. His choice to be good when the world would have forgiven him for being bad. 5 years later, Rahul and Priya had another child, a daughter. They named her Asha, which means hope. Arjun was now a teenager, kind and strong. Isha was studying to become a journalist like her mother, determined to expose injustice and help the voiceless. Rahul still worked at the factory, but he also started a foundation. The 3 Bullets Foundation helped children of crime victims. It helped them process their trauma. It helped them choose paths of justice and redemption instead of revenge and violence. One day, a young boy came to the foundation. His father had been killed by criminals. The boy wanted to kill them. He wanted revenge. Rahul sat with him for hours. "I understand your pain," Rahul said. "I understand your anger. I have felt it too. I felt it so deeply that I wanted to take a life. But I did not. And I am grateful every day that I did not. Because revenge would have made me a murderer. It would have taken away my life, even if I was not in prison." The boy listened. Slowly, his anger began to transform. Instead of seeking revenge, he started helping the police. He testified in court. And the criminals were caught and punished. Years passed. Arjun grew up and became a social worker. He worked with Rahul at the foundation. Isha became a renowned journalist, continuing her mother's work of exposing injustice. On Arjun's 20th birthday, he gave a speech at a big event organized by the foundation. He talked about his father's sacrifice. He talked about the night his father was shot. He talked about the darkness that followed and the light that came after. "My father was shot 3 times, Arjun said, his voice strong and clear. And that night, he could have died. The doctors said it was a miracle he survived. But I think the real miracle was not that he survived the bullets. The real miracle was that he survived the darkness. The darkness of rage. The darkness of revenge. The darkness of hate. He chose to step into the light. He chose to be good. And that choice gave me my life back. That choice gave my sister Isha her father back. That choice gave us all hope." The audience stood and applauded. Among them were people from all walks of life. Police officers, journalists, social workers, students, and ordinary people. All of them had been touched by Rahul's story in some way. Rahul sat in the audience, holding Priya's hand, tears running down his face. He was not a famous man. He did not have wealth or power. But he had something more precious. He had a family. He had purpose. He had hope. Years later, when Rahul was old and his hair had turned white, a young filmmaker came to meet him. This was the grandson of the famous filmmaker who had made the film 3 Bullets decades ago. "I want to make a new film," the young man said. "A continuation of your story. I want to show what happened after. How your sacrifice and your choice changed the world." Rahul smiled. He was tired now, and his body was no longer as strong. But his eyes still held that same fire. The fire of hope. "Make the film," Rahul said. "But make sure to tell them one thing. Tell them that I am not a hero. I am just a single father who made a choice. Every day, all of you have a choice. You can choose to be good or bad. You can choose to seek revenge or justice. You can choose to be filled with hate or filled with love. Every single day, you have this choice. And that choice will determine not just your life, but the lives of all those around you. The film was made. It was shown in cinemas and on television. And again, people cried. They cried not just for Rahul's sacrifice, but for the hope he represented. 30 years after that first night when Rahul took 3 bullets, a statue of him was erected in the city. It showed him not as a warrior or a fighter, but as a man standing with his arms open, his face turned toward the sky, and a smile on his face. The inscription read, "He took 3 bullets to protect others. He chose redemption over revenge. He showed us that true strength lies not in the gun we carry, but in the choices we make." On the day the statue was unveiled, Rahul was there with his family. He was very old now, barely able to stand. But he stood tall. His son stood beside him. His daughter was there with her children. His grandchildren were there. His wife was there. When Rahul touched the statue's hand, he began to cry. Not tears of sadness, but tears of gratitude. Tears of relief. Tears of a man who had lived a full life, a life of meaning and purpose. "Thank you," he whispered, "for letting me choose good over evil. For letting me choose love over hate. For giving me a second chance." And in that moment, as the sun set over the city and cast a golden light over everything, Rahul understood the deepest truth. The truth that no bullet could destroy. The truth that no darkness could extinguish. The truth that one person's choice to be good could change the entire world. Rahul was just a single dad. A working man with no special powers or abilities. But his sacrifice and his choice had touched millions of hearts. Had inspired countless people. Had shown the world that redemption is always possible. That hope is always alive. That love always wins. And in a world so often filled with darkness and revenge, his story became a light. A light that would burn for generations to come.